Personality NLP case study for Kelsey. Ascendant and second house. Since Kelsey has Shatabhisha rising in Aquarius as her ascendant, she likely moves through the world with a unique combination of analytical detachment, visionary insight, and psychic independence. Shatabhisha, ruled by Rahu and symbolized by a circle or 100 healers, is a nakshatra of hidden knowledge, radical transparency, and inner healing. Aquarius rising already signals someone who values innovation, objectivity, and freedom from convention. But with Shatabhisha here, Kelsey's approach to life is less about rebellion and more about revelation. She often walks through the world as an observer, scanning for patterns beneath the surface and quietly sorting what is real, distorted, or ripe for reinvention. There's a cool intensity to her. She may come across as detached or enigmatic, but internally, she's tracking everything. From an NLP perspective, this ascendant reflects a dissociated auditory-digital processing style with strong tendencies toward general chunking. She's likely less interested in surface chatter and more engaged with underlying principles. Her thinking is conceptual, structured, and precise. She wants things to make logical, energetic, and systemic sense. She filters life through her own analytical lens, often making decisions based on what aligns, not necessarily what's expected. Her attention filter is strongly self-oriented, but in a cerebral rather than egoic way. Kelsey likely makes decisions based on internal logic and energetic coherence. She's motivated away from distortion, dishonesty, or superficial emotional pressure, not because she avoids emotion, but because she prefers clarity and truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Her aura is one of someone who listens deeply, speaks sparingly, and brings intellectual precision to emotional or energetic chaos. In the second house, Kelsey has both the Sun in Uttara Bhadrapada and Mercury in Revati, both in Pisces, a configuration that blends spiritual depth with emotional nuance in her values, voice, and self-worth. The second house governs earned wealth, family of origin, voice, speech, and the sense of personal security. And these placements suggest that Kelsey's sense of worth and resourcefulness are tied to subtle wisdom, emotional attunement, and symbolic perception. The Sun in Uttara Bhadrapada brings spiritual dignity and inner mastery to how she sees her value and expresses herself. Uttara Bhadrapada, ruled by Saturn, deals with depth, stillness, and the capacity to hold space. Kelsey's self-worth is likely rooted in her ability to remain steady, wise, and emotionally contained even in complexity. She doesn't perform her worth, she radiates it through calm, insight, and inner control. From an NLP lens, this reflects a self-referencing auditory-digital style with a general chunking orientation. She sees the big picture, filters language and emotion for meaning, and speaks from inner authority rather than external validation. Meanwhile, Mercury in Revati adds poetic intelligence, intuitive language, and a subtle connection to symbols, dreams, or spiritual logic. Revati, ruled by Mercury, is the final nakshatra, linked to completion, nourishment, and liminal wisdom. Kelsey may speak softly but with layered meaning. Her voice likely carries emotional resonance, and she may be gifted at helping others feel seen, though she herself remains somewhat elusive. From an NLP standpoint, this Mercury supports a visual-auditory blend with a tendency toward detailed internal mapping. She likely remembers not just words, but tone, rhythm, and the feeling behind them, and may naturally communicate in metaphors, symbols, or poetic cadence. Together, the Sun and Mercury in Pisces in the second house give Kelsey a voice that is gentle but firm, intuitive but structured, shaped by a blend of inner vision and spiritual intelligence. Her sense of worth is quiet, almost sacred, not built on performance, but on the integrity of her inner world. Her NLP profile in this area reflects someone who processes value and communication through symbolism, emotional coherence, and quiet discernment. She doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. When she speaks, it lands. Third house, Venus in Ashwini and Moon in Bharani Aries. In the third house, Kelsey has Venus in Ashwini and Moon in Bharani, both in Aries, a fiery, expressive, and emotionally charged combination in the house of communication, learning style, curiosity, and self-initiated action. This house governs how we speak, write, pursue interests, and assert ourselves in close relationships and daily movement. With both Venus and the Moon here, Kelsey's voice isn't just verbal, it's felt. stylized, and emotionally alive. Venus in Ashwini gives her speech and communication a vibrant, spontaneous, and charming quality. Ashwini is ruled by Ketu and associated with quickness, clarity, and the impulse to initiate. Kelsey likely speaks in a way that feels fresh, engaging, and disarming. Fast but focused, instinctive but often healing. She may enjoy storytelling, rapid idea exchange, or using words to spark action and enthusiasm. From an NLP perspective, this placement supports a kinesthetic and visual processing style with specific chunking. She notices detail in language, tone, tempo, subtle tension, and responds through action-oriented, often body-informed communication. Moon in Bharani, in contrast, adds emotional depth and weight beneath the spark. Bharani, ruled by Venus and associated with the womb and transformational thresholds, brings intensity and containment. In Aries, this moon makes Kelsey emotionally bold in speech. When she feels, she expresses. Her words may carry an undercurrent of emotional truth, even when delivered quickly or casually. She can be protective with her voice, and may be deeply affected by how she's spoken to. Tone matters. From an NLP lens, this moon placement also leans kinesthetic, with an intuitive, embodied read of conversations. She doesn't just hear what's said, she feels it in her system. Her attention filter here is self-oriented, especially in learning or sharing. She processes information by testing it against her gut. Does it move her, activate her, make her want to respond? Her motivation, direction, and communication is towards self-expression, honesty, and quick energetic exchange, but also away from emotional repression, manipulation, or false niceties. She's wired to name what others won't, with words that cut through fluff. Altogether, Venus and Moon in Aries in the third house give Kelsey a communication style that is sensual, impulsive, and emotionally resonant. She speaks with spark and heart, learning not through passive absorption, but through bold questioning, embodied insight, and emotionally charged dialogue. Her NLP imprint here reflects someone who expresses with purpose, listens with her nervous system, and values truth-telling over pleasantries, even when it surprises the room. Fourth house. Mars in Mrigashira. In the fourth house, Kelsey has Mars in Mrigashira in Taurus, a placement that brings a blend of persistence, curiosity, and inner steadiness to her emotional foundations, private world, and sense of rootedness. The fourth house governs the home, both physical and psychological, early conditioning, and one's relationship to emotional safety. With Mars here, Kelsey has an inner engine that is quiet but firm. She protects her peace, manages her inner world with deliberate care, and likely needs tangible, sensual structure in her private life to feel safe. Mrigashira, ruled by Mars and symbolized by the deer's head, is a nakshatra of searching, restlessness, and graceful pursuit. In Taurus, it becomes more anchored, sensual, and focused on stability and pleasure, but it still retains its inquisitive edge. Mars in this position gives Kelsey a drive to build her inner life through beauty, consistency, and tactile comfort. Her emotional defenses may not be aggressive, but they are present. She will remove herself from chaos or reassert boundaries in calm, firm ways when her internal ground is threatened. From an NLP perspective, Mars in Mrigashira reflects a kinesthetic and visual processing style with a preference for specific chunking. She likely tracks emotional safety through subtle physical cues, atmosphere, tone, space, body tension, and may respond to imbalance by adjusting the tangible environment. Her energy at home or in her private emotional life is not loud, but intentional. She repositions, redesigns, or withdraws to maintain equilibrium. Her attention filter in this area is strongly self-oriented. She monitors how things feel in her space, how her body reacts, and how grounded she feels in any emotional exchange. Her motivation direction is primarily away from overstimulation, instability, or emotional intrusion, and towards comfort, control, and emotional durability. She likely recharges best in solitude or in physical spaces she has carefully curated for energetic alignment. Altogether, Mars and Mrigashira in the fourth house gives Kelsey an emotionally intelligent, sensually attuned, and inwardly motivated relationship to safety and home. Her NLP imprint here reveals someone who tracks security through sensation, expresses boundaries through quiet precision, and protects her emotional world by shaping it with intention. She doesn't fight loudly, she anchors deeply. 6th house, Ketu in Punarvasu and Jupiter in Pushya. In the 6th house, Kelsey has Ketu in Punarvasu and Jupiter in Pushya, both in Cancer, a combination that brings subtle mastery, emotional wisdom, and karmic refinement to her relationship with work, daily routines, service, and how she responds to challenge or imbalance. The 6th house governs habits, health, effort, and our approach to responsibility and repair. With Ketu and Jupiter here in emotionally attuned nakshatras, Kelsey likely serves and heals not by doing more, but by sensing more, withdrawing from unnecessary conflict, refining emotional boundaries, and choosing environments that nourish the soul, not just the schedule. Ketu in Punarvasu, ruled by Jupiter and symbolized by the return of light after the storm, brings a karmic detachment from over-efforting or emotionally reactive service. Kelsey may have already, in previous iterations or early life, tried to fix everything for everyone, and now she's learning to respond with discernment rather than overextension. Punarvasu's cyclic wisdom makes her a natural restorer, someone who knows how to gently bring things back into emotional balance. From an Atlas NLP perspective, this reflects associated and kinesthetic style with general chunking. She senses energy patterns, notices imbalance intuitively, and quietly adjusts or steps back when something no longer serves. Jupiter in Pushya, also in Cancer, brings dignity, generosity, and protective emotional insight to this same area. Pushya, ruled by Saturn, is a nakshatra of nourishment, devotion, and ethical care. Jupiter here makes Kelsey a deeply principled worker and server. She gives where there is resonance, but with boundaries. She may be drawn to healing, teaching, or support roles, but her method is grounded, mature, and often maternal in tone. From an NLP lens, this placement supports a kinesthetic and auditory processing style with a blend of specific and general chunking. She tracks emotional tone and spoken language with care, often responding not with words, but with subtle presence or space-making. Her attention filter in this house leans others-aware, but only when the other is emotionally clean or in true need. She senses emotional manipulation or dependency quickly and withdraws. Her motivation direction is strongly away from energetic noise, codependence, or overwork, and firmly towards emotional alignment, sustainable effort, and sacred service. She's not here to rescue, she's here to restore. Altogether, Ketu in Punarvasu and Jupiter in Pushya in the 6th house give Kelsey a refined, emotionally intelligent approach to effort, responsibility, and healing. Her NLP imprint in this domain reflects someone who serves not from ego, but from essence, who listens through feeling, acts through presence, and restores balance through quiet, calibrated care. She's not driven to fix, she's called to repattern. 12th house, Saturn in Shravana and Rahu in Uttara Ashada Capricorn. In the 12th house, Kelsey has Saturn in Shravana and Rahu in Uttara Ashada, both in Capricorn. A powerful and deeply karmic combination that shapes her relationship to solitude, the unconscious, spiritual boundaries, and inner mastery. The 12th house governs retreat, spiritual practice, dissolution of ego, and what we keep hidden or sacred. With both Saturn and Rahu here, two serious, long-view planets. Kelsey's inner life is structured, intense, and far from passive. She's not someone who escapes inwardly. She refines inwardly, often through deep listening and an unwavering sense of responsibility to her own evolution. Saturn in Shravana, ruled by the moon and symbolized by the ear, brings a profound ability to absorb inner and outer signals in silence. Shravana seeks knowledge through listening. And in the 12th house, Kelsey may learn the most not in crowds or classes, but in solitude, through spiritual study, dreams, or the quiet rhythms of reflection. This Saturn makes her disciplined in her inner world. She may have strong boundaries around her time, energy, and emotional space. From an NLP perspective, this supports a dissociated and auditory-digital processing style with general chunking. She filters her inner experience through mental structure, quiet internal reasoning, and spiritual logic. She makes sense of the unknown not by emotion, but by pattern perception. Rahu in Uttara Ashada, symbolized by the elephant tusk and associated with enduring victory, adds a soul-driven hunger for inner truth, moral strength, and spiritual authority. In Capricorn, this Rahu drives Kelsey to succeed at emotional clarity, to conquer internal distortions, not through force, but through order. Rahu here makes her spiritually ambitious, not in a performative way, but through her desire to master her own shadow material. From an NLP lens, this Rahu also supports an auditory-digital and kinesthetic processing style with general chunking. She absorbs the big picture of what a moment, pattern, or silence means and translates that into grounded insight. She's more focused on energetic congruence than drama, and likely seeks spiritual tools that work, not just sound good. Her attention filter in this area is intensely self-oriented, not out of ego, but necessity. She protects her inner world with care. She may be slow to share her spiritual life or emotional depth, and she likely views retreat not as escape, but as recalibration. Her motivation direction is strongly away from emotional chaos, manipulation, or spiritual vagueness, and towards structure, self-mastery, and internal coherence. Altogether, Saturn in Shravana and Rahu in Uttara Ashada in the 12th house give Kelsey a spiritually strategic, emotionally boundaried, and inwardly powerful signature. Her NLP imprint here reveals someone who processes depth through structure, filters subtle realms through silence, and builds spiritual intelligence like a craft. She's not here to dissolve. She's here to anchor the unseen with clarity, rhythm, and disciplined inner listening. Overall NLP drives for Kelsey. Kelsey's NLP profile reveals a psyche that is structured, refined, emotionally intelligent, and energetically precise. With planetary placements spanning Ashwini, Bharani, Mrigashira, Punarvasu, Pushya, Shatabhisha, Shravana, Uttara Ashadai, across signs like Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Capricorn, Pisces, and Aquarius, her cognitive and emotional system is deeply self-regulated, inwardly focused, and oriented toward truth filtered through both feeling and function. She's not driven by reaction, she's guided by resonance, and her system is designed to track coherence before it commits. Her dominant processing styles are auditory-digital, kinesthetic, and visual. The auditory-digital stream shows up clearly in her Aquarius Ascendant Shatabhisha, Saturn in Shravana, and Mercury in Revati. She listens to her inner dialogue, processes symbolically, and mentally maps her internal world with quiet structure. Kinesthetic processing supports this, with Mars in Mrigashira, Moon in Bharani, Jupiter in Pushya, and Ketu in Punarvasu. She feels her way into truth. Her gut sense is accurate and calm. She tracks through body tone, space, and emotional undertones, especially in relational or high-stakes environments. Her visual orientation complements this in expressive and aesthetic settings. Venus in Ashwini and Mercury in Revati give her a clear sense of pattern, movement, and energetic presentation. Her chunking style balances both specific and general levels. She zooms in on fine detail when dealing with communication, emotion, or relationships, reading tone, word choice, facial shifts, and energetic textures with precision. Yet when approaching belief systems, spiritual insight, or long-term vision, she expands out, moving into symbolic, pattern-based general chunking that allows her to hold complex truth without over-defining it. Her motivation direction weaves a subtle away from with a steady towards. She instinctively moves away from noise, emotional, energetic, or verbal. This is not avoidance, but a filtering mechanism. She protects the bandwidth of her system. Yet when something feels aligned, emotionally clean, spiritually grounded, mentally congruent, she moves toward it with quiet certainty. The blend of Rahu in Uttara Ashada and Ketu in Punarvasu amplifies this. She's here to clarify and refine, not to chase or escape. Her attention filter is strongly self-oriented, especially when it comes to decision-making, boundaries, and emotional discernment. She checks internally first. Does this resonate? Is it clean? Is it useful? This doesn't make her closed. In fact, she's deeply perceptive, but her point of calibration is always inward. Others may feel her calm presence, but not always know what she's thinking. That's because she filters input in silence and only responds when she knows it's worth expressing. Her action style is structured and non-reactive. With Saturn and Rahu in Capricorn in the 12th, she acts when the timing is right, not when prompted externally. Kelsey doesn't jump, she moves through. Mars in Mrigashira gives her measured stamina, a steady effort that is emotionally rooted and aesthetically precise. She does not escalate, she clarifies. She does not overextend, she recalibrates. Altogether, Kelsey's NLP profile reflects a refined, self-protective, and spiritually discerning mind-body system. She processes life through resonance, emotional calibration, and structural clarity. Whether she is learning, relating, creating, or healing, she filters everything through a blend of logic and intuition, language and tone, silence and substance. She's not here to echo others. She's here to name what's real, to refine what's distorted, and to move through the world as a quiet, sovereign current of truth.